What happens when Hollywood royalty walks onto a talk show stage believing the rules don't apply to them? It always starts the same way. Bright lights. Applause on cue. A polished smile held just a second too long. The studio is cold, not emotionally, but physically. Air conditioning humming softly through vents above the audience, keeping the cameras cool, keeping the lights from overheating. Rows of people sit shoulder to shoulder, clutching coffee cups, phones tucked away, eyes fixed forward. They've been told to clap when the sign lights up. They've been told to laugh when the host laughs. This is a well-rehearsed machine, and tonight, it's running perfectly. At least on the surface. Backstage, a producer whispers into a headset. A floor manager raises 2 fingers. 30 seconds. The band finishes a playful riff, applause swells, and the energy in the room lifts like a wave. Andy Cohen steps into the light. He's done this thousands of times. The walk, the smile, the quick nod to the audience. It's muscle memory now. He knows exactly where to stand, exactly how long to pause before speaking, exactly how to let the crowd settle without killing the momentum. He looks relaxed, confident, at home. Because he is. This is Watch What Happens Live, he says, voice smooth, practiced. The audience cheers on command, louder than necessary. Cameras glide into position. Red lights blink on. Andy glances toward the side of the stage. And tonight, he continues, my guest is someone you all know very well. The applause begins before he even finishes the sentence. She walks out slowly, deliberately. Not rushed. Not hesitant. Each step measured, heels clicking sharply against the studio floor. She's dressed impeccably, tailored, neutral tones, nothing accidental. Hair perfect. Makeup flawless under unforgiving lights. Meghan Markle smiles. It's the kind of smile cameras love. Controlled. Elegant. Trained. She waves briefly to the audience, just enough to acknowledge them, not enough to invite them in. The applause is loud, enthusiastic, but there's something underneath it, curiosity, expectation, maybe even tension. People lean forward in their seats. Phones itch in pockets. This is supposed to be a big interview. Andy rises slightly from his chair as she approaches. They exchange a quick hug, polite, distant. No warmth lingers. She sits, adjusts her dress, crosses her legs with precision. Reaches up to straighten her microphone herself instead of waiting for assistance. Small thing. Almost nothing. Almost. Andy takes his seat again. Flashing his trademark grin. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for having me, she replies. Her voice is calm. Even. Perfectly modulated. But Andy notices something. He doesn't know what yet. Just a feeling. A tightness in the air. A stillness that doesn't belong in a room designed for easy conversation. He's learned to trust that instinct. They begin where they always do. Safe ground. How have you been? Andy asks, casual, friendly. I've been very busy, Meghan says. She stops there. Andy waits. A beat. 2 beats. Nothing. Busy is usually a good thing, he offers lightly. Yes, she says. Another pause. It is. A ripple moves through the audience. Not discomfort, yet, but awareness. This isn't flowing. Not the way it should. Andy shifts slightly in his chair. No problem. Some guests take time. He's handled worse. He moves on, asking about current projects, public appearances, the things she's promoting. Questions designed to open doors. But every answer feels closed. Short. Polished. Sanitized. No anecdotes. No warmth. No cracks. It's like talking to a press release. Andy tries humor. A small joke. Something self-deprecating. The audience laughs. Obediently. Megan doesn't. She watches him. Studies him. Her smile doesn't reach her eyes. The temperature in the room seems to drop another degree. Andy nods, keeping it moving. He's still relaxed outwardly, but internally, he's recalibrating. He's looking for an angle. A way in. Something real. People feel like they know you, he says carefully. You've shared a lot of your life publicly. Her posture stiffens almost imperceptibly. I share what I choose to share, she replies. There it is. The first edge. Andy senses it immediately. He softens his tone. Of course. And that's completely fair. She nods once. Sharp. Controlled. The audience is quiet now. Not silent, but attentive. This feels less like entertainment and more like observation. Like something delicate is being handled without gloves. Andy leans back slightly, crossing his ankle over his knee. He's still in control. Still smiling. Let's talk about expectations, he says. Public expectations versus private reality. A reasonable question. Thoughtful. Neutral. Megan inhales slowly before answering. I think expectations are often imposed unfairly, she says. Especially on women. A few murmurs of agreement ripple through the crowd. Andy nods. That's something a lot of people relate to. Yes, she says again. And stops. Another dead end. Andy feels it now. That tightening in his chest. This isn't nerves. It's resistance. She's not uncomfortable, she's guarded. Defensive. Like she came prepared for something else entirely. He glances briefly toward the audience. They're leaning in, eyes darting between the two of them. Something is off, and everyone can feel it. Andy decides to pivot. He asks about public perception. About criticism. About how she handles narratives she doesn't agree with. Still safe. Still fair. Megan's jaw tightens. I don't think it's appropriate, she says slowly, to frame my life through other people's opinions. The words land heavier than intended. Andy raises his eyebrows slightly, surprised but composed. I'm not framing it, he says. I'm asking how you experience it. She looks at him directly now. No smile. I experience it as invasive. The audience shifts. Andy blinks once. Keeps his voice calm. Invasive? Yes. That single word changes everything. The lights feel hotter now. The studio feels smaller. Andy can sense the crew watching closely from behind the cameras, fingers hovering near controls. He adjusts his posture, leaning forward just a bit. Can you explain what you mean by that? Megan's eyes narrow. This line of questioning, she says, voice cool but firm, assumes I owe explanations. Andy opens his mouth to respond, but she continues. And I don't. Silence. Not the polite kind. The kind that stretches. Andy holds her gaze. He's still professional, still measured, but something inside him hardens. He's not being attacked yet, but he's being challenged. I don't think anyone's saying you owe anything, he says carefully. This is just a conversation. She lets out a small, humorless breath. A conversation? She repeats. That's when Andy knows. This isn't going to be a normal interview. The audience senses it too. You can feel it in the way no one moves. No one coughs. No one shifts. Every eye is locked on the stage. Megan sits straighter now, shoulders squared. The polish is still there, but the warmth is gone. Replaced by something sharper. Defensive. Ready. Andy nods slowly, buying time. Yes, he says. A conversation. She tilts her head slightly, studying him like an opponent across a table. We'll see, she says. Andy smiles, but this time, it doesn't quite reach his eyes. And somewhere between that moment and the next breath, the tone of the entire night changes. Because the next question, the one Andy is about to ask, isn't explosive. It isn't cruel. It isn't even controversial. But it's honest. And in just a few seconds, it's going to turn everything upside down. The question isn't explosive. That's the cruel irony of it. It's simple. Almost gentle. Andy leans forward just slightly, fingers resting together, voice steady. You've spoken openly in the past about feeling misunderstood by the public, he says. Do you think there's anything you might have done differently, knowing what you know now? There it is. No accusation. No trap. No raised eyebrow. Just a question. For half a second, nothing happens. Megan blinks. Once. Slowly. The air in the studio seems to thicken. Like something invisible just shifted pressure. Her smile doesn't fade, it freezes. Locks into place like porcelain. Then her eyes change. They harden. Excuse me. She says. The word lands wrong. Not confused. Not curious. Warning. Andy doesn't flinch. He's heard this tone before, from politicians, from reality stars, from people used to controlling rooms. He keeps his voice even. I'm asking about perspective. Growth. Reflection. She lets out a short laugh. Sharp. Humorless. I don't think you understand who you're talking to. The studio goes dead silent. Not a whisper. Not a breath. Andy's smile fades just a fraction. Enough that the cameras catch it. Enough that the audience feels it. But his posture remains calm, open. Professional. I understand I'm talking to my guest, he says. And I'm asking a fair question. Her jaw tightens. No. You're not. Andy tilts his head. Then help me understand how. She leans back in her chair, crossing her arms now. Defensive. Closed. The body language shift is unmistakable. This, she says slowly, gesturing vaguely between them, isn't a conversation. It's an interrogation. A murmur ripples through the audience before dying instantly. Andy inhales through his nose. He can feel irritation flicker, but he pushes it down. I disagree, he says. This is the same format I use with everyone. Everyone. She repeats. Or just me. The question hangs there, heavy with implication. Andy straightens slightly. I ask questions viewers are interested in. About my family? She snaps. Her voice is louder now. Edgier. I asked about things you've discussed publicly, Andy replies, still controlled. That's not invasive. Her eyes flash. You don't get to decide what's invasive to me. The temperature in the room shifts. The audience senses the turn. This isn't tension anymore. This is conflict. Andy nods slowly. That's fair. And you're free not to answer. She laughs again. Bitter. Oh, how generous. Andy frowns. What does that mean? It means you sit there pretending to be reasonable, she says, leaning forward now, while backing people into corners on live television. Andy's patience thins. I'm not backing you into anything. You invited me here, she shoots back. You put me under these lights. You ask loaded questions and then act like it's my choice whether to respond. That's manipulative. The word echoes. Manipulative. Andy blinks, genuinely surprised. That's not, don't interrupt me, she says sharply. The audience collectively inhales. Andy stops talking. For a brief moment, Megan looks satisfied. In control. Like she's reclaimed the room. This is exactly what people like you do, she continues. You play nice. You smile. You act harmless. And then you poke and prod until someone reacts, and suddenly they're the problem. Andy's jaw tightens. A flicker of irritation breaks through his composure. I've been respectful, he says firmly. From the moment you sat down. Respectful? She scoffs. Questioning my decisions. My life? I asked you about your work, Andy says, his voice rising just a notch. About things you've said yourself. She shakes her head, incredulous. You really don't hear yourself, do you? The audience is frozen now. This is no longer entertainment, it's confrontation. Cameras quietly adjust, zooming tighter. Producers exchange looks behind the monitors. Andy exhales. Look, he says, trying to reset. Maybe we got off on the wrong foot. Let's take a breath. No, she says immediately. No, I don't think so. Andy pauses. Okay. She leans forward again, eyes locked on him. The real issue here is that you think you can talk to me however you want. Andy's brow furrows. I don't think that. Yes, you do, she insists. You think because this is your show, because these cameras are here, I owe you something. I never said that. You don't have to say it. Andy's voice hardens. You agreed to come on this show. You know the format. Oh, I know the format, she snaps. You ask questions that sound harmless but are designed to provoke. And then when someone calls you out, you play the victim. That lands. Andy straightens in his chair. That's not true. Her voice rises. Isn't it? Do you ask everyone to justify their personal choices on national television? Yes, Andy says. When they're relevant. Her eyes widen. Relevant to who? To the audience, he replies. That's literally why this show exists. She shakes her head slowly, as if disappointed. Wow. Andy's composure cracks just a little. What did you expect? He asks. That I wouldn't ask real questions. I expected respect, she fires back. I've been respectful, Andy says louder now. But you're interpreting everything as an attack. Because it is, she snaps. Andy laughs, not amused. Exasperated. No, it's not. That laugh pushes her over the edge. She stands up. Gasps ripple through the studio. I don't have to sit here and be spoken to like this, she says. Andy looks genuinely baffled. He stands too, slowly. Spoken to like what? Like I'm on trial. You're not, he says firmly. You're on a talk show. She grabs her purse from beside the chair. This is unbelievable. You're welcome to leave, Andy says, pointing calmly toward the exit. Anytime. She freezes. Turns back. You're going to regret this, she says quietly. The threat lands like ice. Andy doesn't blink. Is that supposed to scare me? You have no idea who you're dealing with, she hisses. Andy's voice is cold now. Right now, I'm dealing with a guest who doesn't want to answer questions. The audience gasps again. Her face flushes red. How dare you? I've been patient, Andy says. But you came in defensive, hostile, and ready for a fight. Don't talk down to me, she snaps, pointing at him. Then stop acting like a child. The words hit the room like a gunshot. Everything stops. Megan's mouth falls open. The crew freezes. The audience goes completely, utterly silent. What did you just say? She whispers. Andy doesn't back down. You heard me. Her hands shake. Get me out of here. The exit's right there, Andy says. She turns toward the side of the stage, and that's when security begins to move. Slowly. Carefully. Just in case. But she doesn't leave. Not yet. She spins back, eyes blazing. You think you won, don't you? Andy exhales sharply. This was never about winning. Oh yes, it was, she snaps. You wanted this. No, he says. You made this. She takes a step toward him. Security closes in another inch. You're nothing, she spits. Just another talk show. Host trying to make a name off other people. Andy's jaw tightens. And you're just another guest who couldn't handle being treated like everyone else. That's it. The line is crossed. She looks around wildly, suddenly aware of the cameras, the audience, the moment spiraling out of her control. I want this footage destroyed, she demands. Andy laughs, short, incredulous. It's live. Her face drains of color. Live? She whispers. Andy nods. Has been the whole time. The realization hits her like a punch to the chest. And as she stands there, frozen, exposed, and unraveling, the screen cuts to commercial. The studio doesn't breathe. Not after that word. Live. Megan stands there. Frozen, the realization spreading across her face in slow motion. Every sharp word. Every accusation. Every threat. Already out there. Already witnessed. Already impossible to pull back. The audience isn't clapping anymore. They aren't gasping. They aren't whispering. They're watching. Andy remains standing, but something in his posture has shifted. The confrontation is over. The fight has burned itself out. What's left is aftermath, quiet, devastating, inescapable. You knew it was live, he says gently, almost sadly. It was in the paperwork. I didn't, she starts, then stops. Her voice falters for the first time. The confidence that carried her onto that stage is gone, replaced by something raw and panicked. The lights feel harsher now. The studio suddenly smaller. She looks around like someone waking up in the wrong place, realizing the walls have closed in. This can't air, she says weakly. Andy shakes his head. It already has. For a moment, it looks like she might cry. Then anger rushes back in to fill the void. This makes you look terrible, she snaps, grasping for control. People are going to see exactly what kind of person you are. Andy shrugs. Maybe. Or maybe they'll see what I saw. And what's that? She demands. A guest who came in ready for a fight, he says calmly. And couldn't handle being treated like everyone else. She laughs, but it's hollow now. You think you're some kind of hero? No, Andy says. I think this didn't need to happen. She shakes her head, pacing now. You did this on purpose. I invited you on my show, he replies. I asked questions. That's all. That's not all, she insists, but the fire is fading. The certainty is gone. She's running out of arguments. Andy gestures gently toward the chairs. If you want to sit and finish the interview, we can. She stares at him like he's lost his mind. No, she says quietly. I'm done. Okay, Andy replies. She stands there for another second, like she's waiting for someone to stop her. To apologize. To fix it. No one does. Finally, she turns and walks toward the exit. Her heels echo against the studio floor, sharp, uneven, each step louder than the last. The audience doesn't clap. They don't boo. They just watch. She disappears off stage. The silence lingers. Andy exhales, runs a hand through his hair, and turns back toward the camera. The professional mask returns, but it's thinner now. More human. Well, he says. That happened. The audience reacts all at once. Nervous laughter. Applause. Shocked murmurs colliding in the air. Andy sits back down slowly, like the weight of the moment is finally settling in. I've been doing this a long time, he says, looking directly into the lens. And I've never had an interview go like that. The room quiets again. I tried, he continues. I really did. I asked normal questions. I stayed calm. But sometimes, no matter what you do, someone comes in determined to fight a battle that doesn't exist. The audience applauds louder now. I respect every guest who comes on this show, Andy says. But respect goes both ways. And if you accuse me of things I didn't do, if you attack me for doing my job, I'm going to defend myself. That's not being unprofessional. That's being human. More applause. He pauses, then adds softly, I hope she's okay. Truly. But being under pressure doesn't give anyone the right to treat others like enemies. The cameras pull back slightly. The band readies for the break. And with that, Andy says, forcing a tired smile, we're going to take a break. When we come back, I promise, less drama. The audience laughs, tension finally breaking. But the moment doesn't end there. Because outside that studio, the internet explodes. Within minutes, clips flood social media. The raised voice. The finger point. The words I am not everyone. Slowed down. Replayed. Analyzed frame by frame. People pick sides. Hashtags trend. Headlines scream. But the people who were there, the ones in that room, say the same thing afterward. Andy tried. She didn't. What was meant to be an image-controlled appearance turned into something far more revealing. Not because of a trap. Not because of a trick. But because someone who expected special treatment was treated like everyone else, and couldn't handle it. 38 seconds. That's all it took. One honest question. One refusal to bend reality. One moment where entitlement met a boundary, and shattered. The Duchess walked in expecting control. The host stayed seated, did his job, and refused to be bullied on his own stage. And when the dust settled, only one of them walked away with their composure intact. The cameras didn't lie. The audience didn't misunderstand. And the footage didn't need spin. It told the story all on its own. If you watched this unfold and felt that tension, if you saw the masks fall in real time, then you already know why this moment became legendary. And if you want more deep dives into the moments celebrities never planned to reveal, make sure you like this video. Drop your thoughts in the comments, who do you think crossed the line? Subscribe for more cinematic breakdowns like this. And share this with someone who still thinks every interview is just a conversation. Because sometimes, the truth doesn't come out in statements or apologies. Sometimes, it comes out live.